Good evening. Tonight we're going to talk about this part from the Gospel according to the Spiritism, chapter 4, where Jesus talked about that no one can see the kingdom of God unless he's born again. It was a passage from Matthew and Mark. Specifically tonight we're going to talk about the return to the corporeal life, or reincarnatory plan. We're not going to get any details of that, but we're going to just have a little bit idea of how this is going to be working, based on the book from Chico's Javier, and by the Spirit André Luis. We know that we have lived before. Many times. We don't know how many times. And every time we reincarnate again, as Jesus mentioned, we can see the kingdom of God. That means the love, practice love entirely until we actually learn the Jesus teachings and begin to execute that in our own life. Until then, we keep coming back over and over, as many times as necessary. The same way God gives us chances. Our parents gave chances to us as well when we are kids. Remember, every time we did something wrong, they would help us understand what we have done wrong and how's the best way to do it. They would never give up on us, and so is God. He will never do that to us. And for that reason, our parents never threw us either on the oven and burning us in there. So God won't do that to us for sure. So we come back over and over as many times as necessary until we learn everything that Jesus Christ has taught us, what we call the law of love. But every time that we come back, we are not here just because. We are here for a purpose, for a reason. And this means we have what we call the reincarnatory plan, which was put together with the help of the enlightened spirits to help us to repair everything that we have done wrong toward others. Every action that we practice that lack love, we're going to have a negative reaction, and we're going to have to repair that. And Allan Kardec, on Spirit's book, in question 258, he asked the spirits, when they are in the errant state and before they assume a new physical existence, do spirits see what will happen in the new existence? Let's just remember the word errant means the place where the spiritual is in the spiritual world before he reincarnated here on the planet Earth. Wherever level he is in there, that's what we call the errant state. So the answer is they choose the type of the trials that they will experience. And free will exists in this freedom of choice. What does this mean? That means that we have our reincarnatory plan. This reincarnatory plan does not include the details of what is going to happen in here with us. We promised that was going to do something right, something good. But when come here, and the moments come for us to execute that, most of the time, we don't do it right. So the details of that, take place at that exact moment when we put an action in practice. So we're going to see more further. I have pictures I want to show you from the spiritual world. They're going to explain this better. And when they assume a new physical life, do the spirit happen in the new existence? So the choice, they choose the type of trials. For example, they wanna try to get to become a better person when it comes about patience. So he chose that going through a lot of things that it's going to test his patience. But the moment when this comes, when you put in action practice, that's the moment that the details taking place. That's where we get, most of the time we get in trouble because we don't know how to practice love yet. Since we're living in a world that there's laws that govern this planet, such as cause and effect and action and reaction, we're going to have to repair the consequences of that wrong action. In the 259, Allan Kardec asked the Spirit, if the Spirit can choose the kind of trials that it will experience, does this imply that we have anticipated and chosen our trials and tribulations in here on the planet Earth? That's exactly what I was talking about. So the answer is, this is not the case for all of you. You have not chosen and anticipated everything that will happen to you in this life and its details. You have chosen the type of trial that you will endure. The details of these trials are consequences of the general situation that you choose, and are often the result of our own actions, because we have a free will. We are free to making choices. One more example that help us, what that means to us. Every time that we go through in life, in a trouble, we have problems, life seems to be so hard and so difficult. Remember that it's not. It is because it's the way we are seeing things. But it's actually an opportunity for us to practice what we promised that we're going to do in the spiritual world, as being patient, being respectful toward others, to not condemn the other people's actions. We have to make a choice. That choice means we need to make a judgment which way we're going to go. We need to have a sensibility to understand what is happening around us, so we can make a good choice. By doing that, we are planting a good tree. If you don't do that, you're going to be planting a bad tree, which you're going to have consequences later. And so, this is when you heard people saying that you need to reap what we sow. So you are sowing bad things, because when things happen to you, you are acting back in a negative way. So you're going to have to reap all of them in the future life. When this comes in our life, in our reincarnatory plan, or sometimes it's in this life, and sometimes it's in the next life. This is the way things happen. This is how it works. On the question 264, Allan Kardec asked, what determines the spirit's choice of the trials that he wants to endure? He chooses those trials, which is the trial that we're going to go through every day, which might help amend or repair its faults or expiations, and at the same time help the spirit to advance more quickly. So everything happens for a reason. No matter what, everything's happened for a reason. And our job, most of the time we don't see it like that, but our job is to deal with that in a positive way. The adversities of life begins with our family members, then we extend it to others, or people that we work with, or friends, the group that we are, socialize with, and etc. That's all of that. It's a purpose to help us to understand and to teach us lessons to make us feel better. And the details of that, when we acting, it's what it's determining our future. It makes sense? Do you follow me on that? So that's where the moment takes place that we are in trouble. Because let's say if someone come to me and do something wrong to me, what does that mean? That means that God is giving me opportunity to learn. If I take that and think about it and give back in a positive way, I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I said I was going to do. So I'm planting a good tree so I can get a good fruits on the future. If I don't do that, I'm going to have to repair because I'm dealing with the same way he's dealing with me. It makes sense? This is the way things are, no matter what. The question 266, Allan Kardec asks, is it not natural to choose the least painful trials? Because it makes sense, right, to make a choice like that. He was very smart by asking these questions. You know, let's say I'm in a spiritual world, so I'm going to just choose everything that's easy for me. So I don't want to get myself in trouble. I want all things easy. So from our point of view, look how he answered. He would seem so. It would seem a good idea because why you think it's going to be a good idea based on our point of view? Because our point of view and this road of progress that we are today, unfortunately, in most of the time, it's based on hate, selfishness, pride, and so on. All the vices, you don't name it. So we wanted to benefit ourselves. It makes sense? But not from that of the spirit. When it is free from the bonds of material existence, when we are in a spiritual world, its illusion comes to an end. This illusion that we have in here. And it thinks, and we are going to be thinking in a different way. Make sense? One more reason. What this means to me. What this means to me and what Jesus teaches. It means that it is important to all of that's going to happen to me, so it's going to help me to become a better person. And how I'm going to do that? By following the path of righteousness. That's the right way to do things. And Jesus said, trust me, follow me, do what I'm telling you to do. If you can't do it now, it's okay. Just take your time, think about it, but you have to do it. If not, you're not going to be able to reach this point. Unfortunately, when we're talking about enlightened spirits, we're talking about nothing more than someone that once was reincarnating planets like this one, exactly like us, and over time, reincarnating over and over again, he learned how to do it right. So now he's an enlightened spirit compared to us. This is how our future is going to be one day. The question 269, Allan Kardec asks, it is possible for a spirit to make a mistake with respect to the value of the trials, of the trial it chooses. He might choose one which exceeds his strength, and in this case, he will succumb. Or he might choose one from which he will make no progress whatsoever. As for instance, if he seeks to lead an idle and a useless life. But in such a case, he perceives on returning to the spiritual world that he has gained nothing. And he then demands to make up for a lost time. Can you believe it being here for, let's say, the average 89, 9 years old on this planet and go through everything, and when you get back to the spiritual world, you realize, because over there our mask, we have a mask that falls off, and we see things as reality. And we look and going to say, my goodness, what I have done. I have done nothing. I have a friend, not a friend, of someone that I know. He's 50-something years old. He doesn't work. He hates work. And his dad needs to pay his rent, pay his bills, and don't do anything. He just sleep. And wakes up around 10, go to Starbucks, and do it like nothing. So he's not gaining anything. His parents, it's in a nursing home. You know, he doesn't even take the time to go there and help. Unless if they pick up the phone and call, please, you need to come here, you need to take me to the doctor. They need to insist to him to go there and help. It's unbelievable. So when he gets back to the spiritual world, he's going to look and say, man, I have so many time. I was lucky that I wasn't working, and I didn't even invest a little bit more of time to help my own parents. It's amazing, isn't it? Society is full of people like that. On this book, Missionaries of the Light, it's been translated to English now. I highly recommended reading this book. This book, it's amazing. It tells stories in there. It's unbelievable. It's from the Spirit André Luiz by Chico Xavier. And it was an edition of FAB. FAB means Spiritist Confederation, Brazilian Spiritist Confederation. It's a really good book. And there is a story in this book that I want to share with you. When we're talking about all of this, it's not just being words. There is actually a place that we're going to be. It's going to be a process. When we disincarnate, we don't go straight over there. Most spirits do. Most of us doesn't. We're going to go to some other place, but not in this one. But we're eventually going to end up being there. That's the place we call the Center of Planning Reincarnations. We call the Astral City or No Solar, which is the book from Chico. This picture was made based on what the spirits told Chico and the image that Chico had in the spiritual view. So someone draw the picture to say that's exactly how it looked and it looks like. Inside the No Solar, Astral City, there is a place, right, called the Center of Planning Reincarnation. We are all going to go through that. Inside of this place, there's a place called the Planning Institute. As you can see, people are gathering, the spirits are gathering, they're coming in. So there you can see there is a great movement of spirits, both those who will reincarnate and those who are incarnating for others, who are interceding for others. Appropriate plans are established according to the service to be performed and the degree of advance of the spirit that is about to reincarnate. So this reincarnatory plan, this is what we're going through on this place on the spiritual world. It's interesting, it's amazing. Inside of this place, there's a room called the Planning Institute Lab. It's a laboratory, as you can see in here. Now, this is André Luiz, the spirit of André Luiz. And he is, in particular, he's observing in particular the model brain that's going to be for the spirit that's about to reincarnate. And as you can see in here, there's another spirit that it's preparing, another one. There's a group in here, it's preparing the livers of the spirit that it's going to reincarnate. All of this, it's going to be based on facts that happened to that person in a previous life. He's going to have to repair all the damage he done to others. And you can see in here, he's working in another plan as well, and so is in here, and so over there. So he's observing the spinal cord of this spirit that's going to reincarnate. That's how his physical body is going to look like. So there is an entire thing going on behind our reincarnatory plan. That's why it's extremely important for us to act right, follow the path of righteousness now. Don't wait to get there, because it's going to be a lot of problems. We have this Anacleta. We're going to take her as an example of a reincarnatory plan. So she will reincarnate after 40 years of work in favor of family spirits who are in imbalance. They are in trouble. She is a spirit on a spiritual world in a good place in there, and she's working from there trying to help her family here on the planet, which is pretty much in trouble. She intends to receive them as a child. She's going to reincarnate and receive these spirits as a child. Two will have paralysis. Another will come with mental disability. And a daughter also with lots of debts to repair, who should help her in her adult period. She prepares to repair the errors of a previous incarnation when she allowed, as a mother, through lack of discipline and overindulged in her child that could not cope with the struggle of life. She's talking about this daughter here. In the previous life, she indulged her too much. You know, when the parents give everything to their kids and don't teach them anything. When she get an adult time, she faced life, and was ready to move on with her life, to begin to face life as it is, as we all do. She didn't know how to deal with it, so she was struggling. And she probably committed suicide. They don't say in here, but we can have an idea. So look at the plan of this woman, Anacleta. She's going to have 2 kids. She intends to receive them. 2 will be paralyzed. Can you imagine have 2 kids like that? Another with mental disability. And a daughter also with lots of debts to repair, who should help her in her adult period. So this daughter understood the problem when she was in the spiritual world, and now, even though she knows she's going to have to deal with the consequences, which it's not easy, it's our reincarnatory plan. The details of her doing what she promised she was going to do or not, it's going to happen when she is in here and begin to act in life. So she prepares to repair the errors and prevalent incarnation when she allowed, as a mother, through a lack of discipline and overindulgence, her daughter. So it's in here. So she should help her mom in adult period. But when she got here, she's going to have a lot of trouble she's going to go through. And if she's really going to do what she said she's going to do in the spiritual world, you're going to see someone struggling so much in life to help a mom with a disabled kids. And she's always going to be happy, always going to be smiling, always going to be in a positive attitude, will take life as it is, always going to be an example toward others. If she does that, this is not a expiation for her anymore, because she's not taken like that anymore. She learned, she's taken as opportunity for her to advance in her life. Unlike Emmanuel, on these books that we read in here, one of these messages, he talks about that the troubles and all the things that we're going through in life are actually fertilizers to our life that helps us to evolve and to become a better person. This is just a simple example, which is a very complicated and detailed plan that this person needs to come here with. There's another one. See, this is her preparing with Andrea Luiz, it's helping. That's going to be her physical body. She's going to come as a woman. She's already preparing all of that, which is going to give her opportunity to be pregnant and have all those kids and everything. It's amazing, isn't it, how things work? We, every single one in here, are going through the same thing in the spiritual world. Some spirits are not have the consciousness to understand all of this, and they are rebellious against all of this, and they don't want to reincarnate, they don't want to do anything. You get to the point in the spiritual world, if he wants or not, it doesn't matter. He's going to have to reincarnate. He's going to be obligated to reincarnate here, because that's God's law. And the enlightened spirits will put together a plan for him, which he's going to be responsible for. So you have 2 ways. You will do it by understanding or by imposing on you to come back, because no one's going to be there in the spiritual world living a good life in there if you don't have merits to it. That's not the way it works. So she's coming back, that's her physical body, to the next reincarnation. And all those pictures are people that are waiting to be decided. They are working on it. It's a lab. That's what they're doing there. It's amazing, isn't it? On the next picture I'm going to show you, André Luiz analyzed this situation of a spirit that must reincarnate with the possibility of an ulcer, which can become a cancer, arising as soon as it reaches the adult age. There is, on this situation, in this particular case, he's going to do, there's some cases that it's already within this reincarnatory plan to develop this ulcer, for example. But when here, he decides to follow the path of righteousness. There is a possibility, because he's doing that, to never have an ulcer or a cancer in his body. Because, or he takes things in a negative way. He begins to self-inflict in himself with this negative energy. So he's really will develop an ulcer. There's cases this happened before that we know. Through this process, he will be able, look at that, to repair a crime he committed more than 100 years earlier, when he murdered a man with a stab wound. So he stabbed somebody with a knife or whatever it was, and he killed that person. He stabbed him in the chest, and he caused problem for that person. Now he's going to reincarnate to go through and suffer the pain he inflicted in others. The victim became his obsessor and gradually provoked his disincarnation, because he couldn't accept what he did to him. After a period of suffering in the spiritual world, he was able to arise morally and obtain several intersections. That means he was rescued from the lower levels, we call umbral, and he was tired of suffering. He asked for help. The Spirit was there and helped him, took him to the counseling in a better place. Over there, they explained to him why he was suffering, what happened, and so forth. So he was able to accept that and said, "Oh my gosh, what I have done to my life. I'm feeling so bad about all of this. I'm so sorry. I want to fix that. What can I do to fix that?" And then you're going to go through the reincarnatory plan. The plan is going to be put together, so he's going to reincarnate again, and not going to have to deal with the consequences of all of that. That's the way things work. However, based on the law of action-reaction, the crime still remains open, and a painful reincarnation will serve as a punishment and repair for this person. It's not going to be easy. So what does this mean to me, to us, to our life, to our family, to our friends? When you see all these misfortune people out there, everyone is carrying their own cross. They are suffering the consequences of their own actions from previous lives. You see families in so many problems, so many troubles, kids with disability, adult, elders. All over the planet are people like that. God did not create that. He created simple and ignorant and gave every one of them an opportunity that is given to us. We are here investing our time to learn, while many are not. And they are doing the wrong thing. They're going to have consequences. So they create that for themselves. So they have to repair every single thing that they have done wrong in the previous life. That means also to me that when I face some tribulations in my life, remember all of this. Step back, take a deep breath. Remember that you have choices to make. You think about it, reflect about it, and remember what we are going to study, because this is going to help you to make a better choice. You're going to be able to deal with that in a positive way. That's why we are here for. That's the only reason. And we keep coming back because we can't do it right. We always messed up. So until the moment that we turn that around, so things are going to start changing. And here's the picture already. See these black dots? This is going to be the ulcer already inflicted on his very spirit that's going to develop in the future when he reaches an adult age. This is called the planet ulcer. Can be any planet ulcer, can be a planet cancer, can be many other things. I have an example of the spirit. I can't remember what book it was that I read that. The spirit has a lot of asthma. We have a very, very trouble breathing. It was a woman. And she went to surgery. She never could get it fixed. And she had like one of the extreme cases of asthma. She can't breathe at all. It was because in a previous life she inflicted wounded in someone that it was her co-worker. She manipulated things in there for her co-worker to get sick because she was putting things on her drink. It's because she wanted her position. And she got sick, she got cancer in the stomach and so forth. So she reincarnated with that so she could deal with the consequences of her own actions. This is just an example. Has many and many examples out there from A to Z. And when you see someone suffering, going through that, remember that. God did not create him like that or her. He now dealing with the consequence of his own action. And as a good Christians, we can think about this because we know he also or she have a reincarnatory plan. And that person is struggling with that disability. We can pray to God based on what we learned here today and ask God to continue giving that person strength and resignation. Tell through our thoughts, through our prayer, everything's going to be okay. Trust in God. He knows what he's doing. Everything's going to be fine. Because this is the way it is. Many people, when you see a disabled someone, he thinks I don't want to be around it. He's a loser or whatever. There's people out there like that. Unbelievable. So what do we learn from here today? In reincarnation, there is a plan based on a logic and morality that we went through before. We did things wrong. We had to repair that. Now, the reincarnatory process can be elaborated by the Spirit himself, provided he has the moral and the intellectual conditions for it. Most of the case we don't, so they need to help us. In the case of the less advanced spirits, their reincarnatory plan might be prepared by the more enlightened spirits. The example that I gave, they are still rebellious against everything. They don't want to come back here. They don't want to do anything in the spiritual world. They just want to be there and do nothing. So there's a moment they're going to have to come back. They're going to be imposed on them. And thus, God is spirit and matter constitute the principle of all that exists, the universal Trinity. This is what we are today. This is what it is, a planet of trials and expiations. Because we don't do things right, we have to repair. The only place, and absolutely only place that you can repair what you've done wrong to others, called planet Earth. That's why you see so many problems out there. And instead of people face that in a positive way because we are solving problems, they don't. They turn that problem in more complications for them for the future. Again, if you're struggling with something in life, think about it. All of this. It's going to help you to make better choices. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. If you have any questions or comments, we can talk about on the